Hello everyone, this is episode 1 of creating our own operating system based on AI. The current problem statement is building a Linux kernel based operating system with integrated AI with all process execution guide for all of process within the OS environment. So, for example, if I'm a person and I want to use the computer and I don't know how to, I can enable voice chat and inform it what I need to do, and it has the capabilities to execute those processes using NLP and AI agents. So, keeping this thing short because this video is going to be very lengthy, because we'll also look up on some of the major issues that you can encounter within the process execution and environment setup for editing this operating system. We are using our Debian operating system kernel, and based on which we are going to edit and make our own operating system. The first thing that we're going to do is install the operating system on a VMware workstation. So I have got Debian 12 point version on my VMware workstation, and within that operating system I'm going to edit my own operating system. One additional thing that I want to tell you is make sure that you have enough storage allocation for this operating system. I have got 90 GB space allocation to this specific Debian because I know the editing will require a lot of copies, changes, and a lot of files to be updated, and that will require good enough storage to edit all of them efficiently. So we'll start it here. The first thing that we are going to do is install some of the packages that we need to use. Before that, we are going to edit our sudoers file, because if you are having Debian, you need to make your profile sudoer also in Linux sometimes. I have my profile already as sudo, that is kushwaha, and I don't have to edit it. But since you need to know how we are going to do it, I'm going to show that exactly. This is the uh, file that you need to edit to get into the changes for your sudoer. So as you come into this file, go below and you see all privilege specification. This is where you need to edit. I have it kushwaha right here. If I update it to root, I would not be able to go sudo within my kushwaha profile, but I already have it here. If you don't have that here, update this with your name of the profile and exit it, save it, and that's all you need to do. Now you can make installations that you need to. So we'll start with the basic tool requirements, that is build essentials, and we will need git, we will need curl, we will need wget, also python 3 and pip. Also will need libtorch, also cmake, and also g++. So these are the requirements that we need to have. I already have all of them installed because I use this operating system sometimes. And when you complete this installation, it's time to actually start with the ISO process. So what are we going to do next is we need to exit from this. We'll need to check the directories. So as you see, I already have some of the files that require to edit operating system. These are the files that you actually need to edit your operating system, and we are going to see how to make them up. So make your directory ISO. I already have it, so I won't do it. The next thing that we are going to do is mount. We are going to mount the operating system to this folder, that is ISO. So we have the file in desktop, and we are going to link that file. So we have Debian and we have a live genome, and if you missed or if you don't understand, I'll give a very short clearance on this. The current installation version is Genome Installer, so I have hit install in the VMware workstation. And to edit the operating system, we are going to use live image, that is live genome, that I have it here. Make sure you download it before you start your process so that you can be more precise in that. And now we have it in terminal. Add up the same file name. To ease this up, make sure you edit this file name and make it shorter, because that will help you type it anytime you want to. And since we need that in ISO folder, we are going to do ISO, and this will link up the file. So I'm going to execute it, and I'll exit it on halfway because I already have it. It says there is a setup loop issue, and that is because it failed to set up the loop. If I do desktop, we have the file, and if we verify the name, yes, we have a issue here. I added up AMD-64, that is to be AMD 64, and still we have a continuous issue. What we are going to do is, now we'll just trim this up here. We'll copy this from here because sometimes our eyes miss some of the things that we are not supposed to. We'll paste it here and we'll run it again. Okay, now I get it. It should be sudo. Okay. Okay, so you see we have got it mounted, and if you see here, we have that here. This is the files for the Debian system, and we have got that mounted. The next thing that we're going to do is get on the extracted ISO so that we can get the rsync. That is the next step. So make dir for extracted ISO. That is what I already have. And when we do the second part, that is copy of this live connected operating system, we are going to extract the files from that and then save it in the extracted ISO file. So the next thing that we're going to do is install rsync. And this is what we're going to do. I already have this installed. If you face any issue in this, you might need to check, because rsync installation is one of the problem that I think needs to be sorted out within the installation. I'm not sure if you'll get it. I used to get it usually, but this time I didn't. Next thing that we're going to do is rsync the AISO files into extracted ISO files. So for that, we are going to do is rsync AV and ISO into extracted ISO. This is what we are going to execute. And now within this, there are two cases of failure. The first case is when the files are not extracted properly. The second case is you have storage limitations. These two issues can be solved. The first issue is can be solved. If you are facing issues in the extraction, try re-downloading these files, making the ISO file again, and then making the extracted copy of the same ISO. If there is anything else, that is because of your storage, make your installation again within the virtual environment, and then make the storage allocation. I'm so sorry. Make the installation allocation of the storage higher, and then you will be getting better results in that. So we are going to do the rsync, and we already have the entire files within that, so that's why we have got all of the files in a speed up process. This is going to take pretty much time if you're going to do that. Next thing that we're going to do is unmount the ISO. So you are going to do umount, make sure you are not doing unmount, and this will unmount the ISO. Now you see we don't have any mounted device here. So now we can exit it from here, and we don't need this, but we'll have some of the things that I need to show up in further time. Now it's time to make a squash fs root file, which we are going to you can say extract the files to edit. Okay, so I'll make a new directory that is sku, and we will be getting this directory. I already have one for the same, that is squash root fs. Now within this directory we have to unsquash, and then we have to extract the files based on which we are going to make the changes. Now we get issues within this. If you don't have the live genome, this is the file or this is the folder for the execution of which you will not be able to do. You will be facing issues within that. So for not facing that, make sure you have the live version of Debian or whatever genome that you are using. So this is the command that we're going to execute, and this will unsquash the files from the live file system of the extracted ISO directory. To execute this, after executing this, we will have one issue that you might encounter, as mentioned, the live issue. Okay, we have unsquash command issue because it is unsquash fs. So that is what it is going to do. Now you see we already have a fatal error. This is not because I already have error, but this is because we already have the files for that. So if I go to squash fs, and it requires permission, so I'll do sudo cd squash fs. I think we need to go into super user, and then we are going to do dir and ls squash root. So you see these are the files that have been already created within squash fs root, and here is what we are going to edit. And the next thing we are going to do is also an additional tip that I'll add up. Make sure you take snapshots of your operating system while editing it. It will help you get back the entire version after you encounter a error that you are not able to solve. So the next thing that we are going to do is chroot into the system. So basically we are going to get the entire root access to the system so that we can edit it. So for that we'll do sudo chroot and squash fs dash root, that is the folder. It says no such. Okay, I think we have some spelling issues. Yes. So we are now inside the folder. Now here we are going to do is export home into root. Now I'm not going to execute these things because I already have done them, and I don't want to repeat it because that might cause issues. So I'll just show up the commands that you're going to execute. This is the second command, that is to export LC to all. And then we have to mount. And after that, we are going to mount again for R bind, that is sys and sys. And then we are going to mount again for R bind itself for dev. And we have to get yes. So these are the things that you need to do to the squaresurface root. And after that, you have to make some library installations for AI frameworks. So to do that, I'll take up exit, then back in sudo su. And then there is one problem that we can encounter, and that is for Python library installation. So for example, if I say pip3, or you'll say pip install and transformers, and I'm extremely sure, yes, we have that error. So now what we are going to do, now we know that we have an thing that we need to solve. We are going to add up all of the other tools for Python that we are going to install. So these are the tools that I expect we will need for the installation of core AI within the operating system. So we will be installing these so that we can execute it within that. So we will add a line or a command within the end of the installation statements, that is break system packages, and this is what we are going to execute to get the installation done. And if we do it, we are able to make the installations. If you try to do anything that is within the pip and also super user, you need to add up the command that is break system packages. That will help you break some of the rules for installation that can install it. Then also we need some pre-trained models, so we will be sorting out some pre-trained models and then we are going to proceed with it. So this is the entire setup that we need to complete before we start with the editing of our operating system. I hope this process has been completed by you too itself. If you are facing any issues, you can just add a comment in the description. I'll help you in solving those issues to each and every comment that it gets. And in the next episode, we will be starting with adding the AI or LLMs within this operating system. See you in the next video, and till then, keep coding and keep learning.